Om. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Kenopanishad, Dvitiya Khandaha, and this is what we are going to start today. And in the first chapter, the first Khanda, it was all about establishing, coming to contemplate on that one, and the reference point was senses and the mind, because with these senses and the mind we access the world, we interact with the world, we take in the world, and that habit of experiencing everything objectively was cancelled by the various verses of the Prathama Khand, that it is the eye of the eye, it is the mind of the mind, it is pranas of the prana, meaning that these faculties which are able to interact with the world, perceive the world, imagine the world, conclude to some extent something or the other about the world, this functioning is not possible with regards to that Keneshitam, to that inspirer. But these faculties cannot function without that inspirer. This was about the first chapter. Naturally, when it is told that that it is the eye of the eye, it is the tongue of the tongue, it is the ear of the ear, it is the speech of the speech, it is mind of the mind, the student can say, yeah, I understand, I completely understand. So that the student does not get into wrong understanding, the teacher now, of his own accord, brings, his job is to make the student understand correctly, and therefore it was also told that it must be heard from the teacher in the previous chapter. In one of the verses it came that through Acharya Parampara and through the words of the teacher. So, because the student who has been taught, he has been made to cognize the Atma or the Brahman, and he may say that yes, I am that. Because he has been so intellectually in tune with the words, and therefore here where are we? In the not here. So the not here, not in the first verse, but here the the student may come to realize himself, having heard from the teacher. The student may come to realize himself that yeah, I understand. But what about the others? Others are not realized. You see? And therefore, now it is the teacher's job to make sure that the student, the seeker, does not misunderstand that aham brahmasmi, that I am Brahman, he is, and others are not. So when we are interacting with this Upanishad, many moments when we are going through the verses, we feel, yeah, I know it, I'm there, it's clicked. There's no doubt. But doubt about what? Doubt about that I am that reality, kene shitam, I have accessed within me, and others have not. No, it has to be a wholesome experience. It has to be a homogeneous experience in which nothing is excluded. Everything is excluded, nothing is excluded. And therefore, the teacher here in this Shankar Bhashya, few pages of them are there, we'll go through it. He puts in a doubt in the mind of the student, and that and here he say, I'm reading, I got some notes here. It says this is Thula Dhanana Nyaya, as the student keeps subjecting, the teacher keeps subjecting the student to continuous examination, and only then one is able to see where one stands. And from what point? Same thing you will find in Chandogya Upanishad also. There the student came, he says, yes, I come to know that I am the body. Because the student went to a teacher, studied for 16 years, came back, and he was the best student in the school, came back to his father, and with great arrogance told the father, Father, I know, I learned everything. The father asked him one thing, did you learn, do you know that by knowing which nothing else remains to be known? The son tickled, scratched his head. He says, I think my teacher did not know, therefore he didn't teach me that. See, this is the arrogance of knowledge. Then now the father has asked the question. Now the student, the son, he says, tell me. He says, you have to find out. I am not going to tell you. So he went, he came back. Body is the self. Father said, get back. Nope. Then he said, prana is the self. Again go back. Mind is the self. Again goes back. Intellect is the self. And eventually, the last time when he is sent away by his father, after that he never returns. What does that mean? He did not need any confirmation from anyone. You see? And till then, this teacher will, with every student it's a different approach, but here the teacher is making sure that the student doesn't go in the wrong track and come to a unhealthy conclusion, and therefore this second chapter begins. He says, एवं हेयोपादेय विपरीतस्त्वम् आत्मा ब्रह्मेति प्रत्यायितः शिष्यः अहमेव ब्रह्मेति सुष्ठु वेदाहमिति मा गृह्णीयाद् इति आशयाद् आहाचार्यः शिष्य बुद्धि विचालनार्थम यदि स्यादि. So in this manner the teacher says this Atma alone is Brahman, no doubt about it, but the teacher must not pratyatah shishya ahameva brahmeti sushtu vedahamiti ma gruhniyad. So that the student doesn't come to this wrong conclusion or understanding that Brahman am I, that I understand it completely, I have got no doubt about it. If the student, so that the student does not come to this conclusion, important point to note. And what is the conclusion? Brahman am I. Brahma, what is Ahameva Brahmeti. This conclusion should not be come. No, he should not come to. Why he should not come to, we will explain now. That's what the teacher is going to explain. But this conclusion must not come. Remember, every time we have told what are the type of thoughts we must contemplate upon. If you remember, in every text it is coming somewhere or the other. What type of thoughts should we contemplate upon? Which do not conclude in a conclusion. Isn't it? If student is saying ahameva brahmeti, I alone am Brahman, I have come to know, I have come to know it now, I have known it. Sushtu vedahamiti ma gruhniyad iti ashayad ahacharyah shishya buddhi vichalanartham. So here he says, in order to correct his thinking, that it doesn't go and become convinced in this type of conclusion that Brahman am I, the teacher has started this chapter, second chapter, with the verse. What is the verse? Where are we? Yadi manyase suvedeti. So he says yadityadi means yadi manyase. So with that verse he has started. Now a question, another point is that nanu ishtu eva su vedaham iti nishchita pratipattihi. I know it very well. If he has come to this conclusion, very, very important point. Important point means if we are absolutely alert and vigilant in our discrimination, and we are nothing in our mind, nothing in our understanding is happening without registering to us. That is alertness. So if this student is saying, I have come to know it, here the teacher he says iti nishchita pratipattihi. meaning he has come to know only the Ishta. He has not come to know the Brahman. Meaning he has come to know the Ishvara, but he has not come to know the Brahman. He has come to know someone, maybe formless, but with attributes, but he has not come to know the Brahman. Something to digest. He says, I'm not denying, you can, because the language that is utilized is the same. These are the points of differences. So Shankaracharya says, yes, if you are saying that I know it very well, then certainly you have had the knowledge of Ishta and not of Brahman. Continuing, or because the teacher himself is putting the question. Now he says, Satyam Ishta Nishchita Pratipattihi Nahi Suveda Vedahamiti. So he says, absolutely, anything that you become convinced of, Nishchita. Nishchita means convinced. Anything that you have conviction about, it will be Ishta only. Conviction is about something in this creation, something in your experience. And for that conviction, there must be a person who is getting convinced about something. Isn't it? Another way to put it is that saying that I am that I know it is healthy, it's auspicious. Isht can also be auspicious, that it is sushtu, it is auspicious. But I know it very well, that I know it very well, that is not healthy, the teacher is telling him. And therefore here he says that that I am adding to this, that this knowledge, this Brahman, is neither is neither to be gained and it cannot be discarded. That is our essential nature, and therefore I alone is. See, there is nothing other than me. That is what the student has come to the conclusion, that there is nothing other than me. So if there is nothing other than me, then what is the point of saying that I have understood it? Are you looking for validity? Are you looking for acceptance? If you have understood it as the self, that self is Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, and we have already told you what this reality is, then why you have to say that I know it? Why you need to give words to it? And therefore, to the teacher in this manner, by putting this question, that why are you saying that I know it, therefore you don't know it, in other words, So he is trying to shake him a little bit just to see how deeply he is absorbed in the essential nature. See? And therefore this whole thing has begun. And if you can put it, nanu sa veda aham iti nishchita pratipattihi. So when the teacher is saying like this, the student will say, have I not understood, sir? I thought I had understood and I had known it very well, but now you are asking me like this, have I not understood? You can put it that way. And the teacher says, no, yes. That it is true that you have that there is understanding, but this understanding that has to be. See, now the contradiction appears. What is that? This understanding has to be without a knower. What was before? I know it very well. Means the knower is still there. But what is this? That which is beyond the senses, beyond the breath, beyond the mind, beyond the intellect. Then who is saying I know? Only intellect can say. These statements are coming from the mind only. So if you are everything, you are the source of everything, who are you telling that I know everything? And if you are everything and there is nothing else other than you, then why you need to make a statement? All these are the possibilities of looking at it. And therefore, so this understanding has to be without the knower, without the individual or the person. There is no precipitation of the knower. यद्धि वेद्यं वस्तु विषयी भवति तत् सुष्ठु वेदितुं शक्यं दाह्यमेव दग्धुम् अग्नेर्दग्धुः न त्वग्रेः स्वरूपमेव सर्वस्य हि वेदितुः स्वात्मा ब्रह्मेति सर्ववेदान्तानां सुनिश्चितः अर्थः इह च तदेव प्रतिपादितं प्रश्न प्रतिवचनोक्त्या श्रोत्रस्य श्रोत्रम् इत्याद्यया. He says here that in this world anything that is known objectively can only be talked of. Important. In this world, anything that can be known objectively only can be talked of. Is Brahman an object? Is Atma an object of cognition? So here the example is taken. Tat sushtu veditum shakyam dahyam eva dagdhum agner dagduhu na tvagne swarupam eva. When there is a an object that is burnt is other than fire, isn't it? Excuse me. Is other than fire. If wood is being burnt, the nature of wood is other than fire. It is not fire. So and thinking in this manner, same way the scriptures it is said that the Atma is other than the instruments of knowledge, Shrotrasya Shrotram, etc. Other than the instruments of knowledge, and cannot, this Atma, this reality, this inspirer cannot be an object of knowledge. And in the so what is the conclusion? What is the conclusion of this? That the knower can never be the known. So remember the first statement. Yes, I have known it. I know it very well. But the Atma cannot become an object for the knower. So what did you know? Are you the student maybe on an ego trip? Sometimes, and these things happen. That the seekers, someplace, people go around, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. It doesn't work that way. And then यद्वाचानभ्युदितम् इति च विशेषतो अवधारितं ब्रह्मवित् संप्रदाय निश्चयश्चोक्तः अन्यदेव तद्विदितादथ अविदिताद् अधि इति. Here it says, it was again and again commented in the previous 5 verses that what was established through the Guru Shishya parampara, and what was told that that which is no that anya deva tad viditat atha aviditat adhi. With this again and again it was told through the various verses. 5 verses they were told, and that it is beyond the known and the unknown. It is transcendental to the known and the unknown, yet supporting the known and the unknown. Same thing in our Amrit Anubhav also. Same thing is the same thought is coming, that the Jnana Vritti and the Ajnana Vritti. And what is the truth? Truth is beyond the Jnana Vritti and Ajnana Vritti. So what is Ajnana Vritti for? To counteract the Ajnana Vritti. That's all. And eventually, Jnana Vritti, thoughts of knowledge, they are also part of the ignorance only. That also dissolves when there is no fuel of Ajnana Vritti to counteract. It's burning away. Your focus on the Jnana Vritti is burning away the Ajnan, but when Ajnan is completely burnt away, what is the need of Gyan? Then the Gyan Vritti also dies, and what remains? Aham, without a thought. Vritti Rahit Aham. Same thought. Exactly the same thought is being presented here. Anya deva tad viditat atha aviditat adhi iti. That this truth, this inspirer, this reality is other than the known and the unknown. Upanyastam upasamharishyati च अविज्ञातम विजानताम विज्ञातम अविजानताम इति. तस्माद् युक्तम एव शिष्यस्य सुवेदेति बुद्धिम निराकर्तुम. So what was presented will be what was presented in the previous chapter will be concluded in this chapter, and then the total story, the knowledge will be presented in a story form. That is not given here in the Bhashya. I am just telling you. It will be a story will be presented to you. Sometimes the pictures are stronger than the words for some. So it is important that the wrong avijnatam vijanatam, vijnatam avijanatam, that the wrong understanding of the student has to be removed by the teacher. Hence the teacher is trying to shake him a bit by these words. Shake the understanding of the student. What will happen if when he is shaking the understanding of the student? It is an attempt by the teacher that the student must not come to a conclusion. He should know, yet he should not come to know a conclusion through the mind. You understand? Right now, the student is coming through his mind. I know it. I have come to know it very well. That it is beyond the senses, beyond the mind, beyond the intellect. That I am, yes. Because so much explanation we have given, Shankaracharya has given, and on that we have expanded. Suddenly we feel, yeah man, senses cannot know, they can only objectify something. The mind cannot know, mind can only objectify the thoughts. Yeah, I know the thoughts are coming and going. I know the senses are functioning. I know the waking, dream and deep sleep are functioning. Yeah, I know it now. I know it. If this is precipitating in the mind of the student, then he is going in the wrong direction. Nahi vedita veditur veditum shakyah agnir dagdhuriva dagdhum agnehe. Just like fire cannot come to know itself, similarly the knower cannot come to know, the self cannot come to know the self, not the knower. Yeah, knower also you can pay. The knower cannot come to know the knower. And these examples we are given enough. The eyes cannot see themselves. The mind cannot think about itself. Similarly, the self cannot come to know the self. न चान्यः वेदिता ब्रह्मणः अस्ति यस्य मन्यत् स्यात् ब्रह्म नान्यदतोऽस्ति विज्ञातृ इति अन्यो विज्ञाता प्रतिषिध्यते. He says Brahman cannot know itself, or Atma cannot come to know itself. Na cha anya vedita brahmanosti yasya. So Brahman cannot come to know anything other than itself. And how does he know itself? Vritti rahit. Same thing, Atma, how does Atma come to know itself? Vritti rahit. Meaning thought free knowledge. Do you have thought free knowledge? Have you ever experienced thought free knowledge? I am asking. Have you experienced thought free knowledge? Nobody is answering. It's not a trick question.
How about dreams, Swamiji?
Dream, you are dreaming. It's not dream. How can think and answer? No. Dream is a thought. How can it be thought free knowledge? All objects in the ah.
It's from the memory you are dreaming, I think.
So
Not
memory is not a thought.
not an active thought.
It doesn't. Now don't get into the trying to justify your point. Is memory not a thought?
Yeah, it is a thought. Yeah.
Then thoughts of future which has not happened is also a thought. Thought of past is also a thought.
Yeah.
So when do you have a thought free experience? Actually all the time. Actually all the time, but we don't know it. But if you want to
There is no thought.
huh?
In the deep sleep, there is no thought.
Experience.
A deep sleep is also a thought.
Neither.
Deep sleep is also a thought, which is absence.
The situation of deep sleep is a thought when we think about it in the wakeful sense. But when you are deep, there is no thought process going on.
But there's no experience there though.
Breathing,
Huh?
breathing,
Breathing is a thought. Is breath not a thought? That I am breathing?
or any reflex action. म्हणजे चटका बसतो तेव्हा हात मागे घेतो आपण.
That is all at the equipment level. Body, breath, mind, intellect, all these are naturally reacting. So good, you are all thinking. Good, you are all thinking. Huh?
I am is it a thought or it can't be a thought? The experience of man. That is,
No, don't ask me. You tell me what your understanding is.
Swamiji, how about blinking? Blinking, and so we don't think for blinking, but it's like a natural reaction to the body. That's an experience though.
How do you know there is blinking without a thought? Can you know blinking without a thought?
After blinking only I know that I have blinked.
Okay, but it is still a thought. Same way, while you are sleeping, you are not thinking you are sleeping, but after sleeping, you know you have slept, isn't it?
Yes.
So it is a thought.
Yeah.
So it is a thought. So what is he saying? What is Brahman? Brahman cannot know itself, and Brahman is all that there is. So there is, in other words, when Brahman is all that there is, this statement is not being made for Brahman. This statement is being made to the seeker. Meaning what? That this Brahman is other than the known and the unknown. So what is known for you as an experience? What is known for you? Waking and dream, in which includes all the known experiences, isn't it? What is the unknown? Unknown for you is the deep sleep, where you don't know anything. So known and unknown. Brahman is other than that. Therefore, the knower of knower does not exist. So you cannot say I know it very well. You cannot say I know the Brahman very well. I have come to know the Brahman. That is, as the knower of the knower does not exist. Knower of the senses can exist, knower of the mind can exist. In other words, the knower of the knower, meaning who is the knower? The ego is the knower. And ego is saying, I have come to know Brahman. That is not possible. That is not possible. तस्मात् सुष्ठु वेदाहम ब्रह्मेति प्रतिपत्तिर्मिथ्यैव तस्माद् युक्तम एवाचार्यो यदित्यादि. So saying that I know Brahman very well, it is an imagination of our mind. It is not, you cannot possibly say that statement that I know, because you cannot bring that which is the cause of all causes, that which is larger than the largest, that which is infinite. And who are you? An individual. Who are you? Oh, one ego who is functioning only through this body. And you are saying that I have come to know the infinite. What audacity! So the teacher is saying that is not possible. For whom it is not possible? For the individual to say that I know the infinite is not possible. But is the individual essentially the infinite? Yes. That's what the seeker is trying to get to, isn't it? Now to that, for that this verse begins, the first verse. Yadi manyase suvedeti, yadi manyase suvedeti, daharamevapi nunam, daharamevapi nunam, tvam vetta brahmano rupam, tvam vetta brahmano rupam, yadasya tvam yadasya deveshu, yadasya tvam yadasya deveshu, अथनु मीमागंस्यमेव ते मन्ये विदितम्, अथनु मीमागंस्यमेव ते मन्ये विदितम्. What does it say? One moment. यदि मन्यसे सुवेदेति दहरमेवापि नूनं त्वं वेत्थ ब्रह्मणो रूपं यदस्य where are we? यदस्य त्वं यदस्य देवेष्वतनु मीमागंस्यमेव ते मन्ये विदितम्. Strange tune. So what does he say here? He says, the verse says, if you believe, where are we? If you believe that you are, what is it? That if you believe that I know it very well, then you certainly know only a little bit of that Brahman, not complete. If you say you know, you only know a little bit, not complete, not the entire. The form that you know, tvam vetha brahmano rupam, the form that you know, that form which the gods know of this reality, that also is only a little bit of that Brahman. The form that you know and the form that God knows, gods know, not God knows, gods know, the Devata, that also is only a little bit of that total Brahman, of that infinite Brahman. Therefore, tu mimagangshameva te manye viditam. Therefore, for you it is necessary to contemplate. You must think about it. You must contemplate. Where are you falling short? Then the student went into ekant, into silence, and after coming back from the silence and contemplating, having taken this instruction from the teacher. And what was the instruction from the teacher? This, that whatever you have come to know till now, and whatever gods have come to know, it's only a tiny part of the total infinite reality of Brahman. So please go and contemplate. And when he comes back, he says, the student says, I have come to know Brahman and I'll explain it to you. This is how the teacher will come to know whether the student knows or not. See? So that the student doesn't consider the ego to be the reality. See, understand one thing. When we say the ear of the ear, mind of the mind, then what precipitates after that? You can very quickly, I'm not the body, I'm not the subtle body, I'm not the gross body. Then who am I? I am the witness. Witness is also the ego. It is that ego which is not identified with the equipments. All that as it was listening to the teacher, it separated itself. It's noticing that the thoughts are coming, the breath is coming and going, the senses are happening, and the organs of action are functioning of their own accord. And I am not doing anything. I am the witness. And if knowing the witness, the student says that I have come to know Brahman, then it is the wrong conclusion. It must not precipitate into anything. Now see, what is the language, in which manner the student communicates his understanding. Yes, I can only say his understanding. Because communication, where is it happening? Where is communication happening? Where is the formulation of thoughts taking place? In the body or in the mind? In the intellect? In the intellect. Right? So the only way to communicate is through the equipments, not any other way. The only way to contemplate on that reality is also through the equipments. There is no other way. But so that the seeker or the student doesn't fall into the trap of I know. Now, what has the student said? That Manya Viditam, what I have understood, what I have come to know, I will tell you, O teacher. And what does he say? Anyway, this is the verse. Now let's read the भाष्य. यदि कदाचित् मन्यसे तु वेदेति सुष्ठु वेदाहं ब्रह्मेति, कदाचित् यथाश्रुतं दुर्विज्ञेयम् अपि क्षीणदोषः सुमेधाः कश्चित् प्रतिपद्यते कश्चिन्नेति साशंकम् आह यद इति इत्यादि. So although something is very different, to understand. What is Kshina dosha? Here it is told Kshina dosha sumedhaha. Kshina dosha, he whose mind is running here and there. That is Kshina dosha. For such a mind it is not possible to know. And Sumedha, he who understands, he has a paripakva, what do you call, from within. Therefore, Sumedha is he who understands the teacher very well, understands what is being communicated. The moral is taken correctly, not having hang-ups with the words. The idea that is being communicated. And what is the idea? Shrotrasya Shrotram, mind of the mind, Pranasya Pranaha. That one we are talking about. And that is not other than you. So when we are taking it subjective, he who is understanding the teacher correctly, Sumedaha kachit pratipadyate. So keeping this, keeping the Sashankam aha yad ityadi, keeping that in mind, the teacher asks a question to the student. Drushtam cha ya eshaha akshini purushaha drishyata esha atmeti hova chaitad amrutam abhayam etad brahma ityukte prajapatyah pandito api asurad virochanaha swabhava dosha vashad anupadyamanam api विपरीतम अर्थम शरीरम आत्मेति प्रतिपन्नः. He is saying, the teacher is saying, in Chandogya Upanishad there were two students. He is giving an example to all. This is to prepare the mind of the student. In Chandogya Upanishad there were two students, and one was Virochan, who was the king of the Asuras, Virochanaha. Swabhava dosha vashad anupadyamanam ambai vipritam artham. Whatever he heard, he always used to get the opposite meaning only. Remember, what are the types of student? Uttam adhikari, madhyam adhikari, adham adhikari, adhamadham adhikari. So which are we? Are we adhamadham? Virochan was that. Get exactly the opposite meaning. Who had the ability to, he had the ability to understand exactly in the opposite way. To him, when the teacher said that the Atma is, to him when the teacher said the Atma is behind the eyes, he took the Sharir to be the Atma. Therefore, whereas the second student was Indra. The second student was Indra. And what did Indra do? Indra was also instructed 3 times. He didn't understand. Still didn't understand, Indra. Why? His mind is always here, there, everywhere. That's why. Indra cannot sit quiet. So he was instructed, and the 4th time when he was told, he was able to transcend the limitations of the gross body, subtle body, and causal body. He understood what was said, what was said, and therefore tatha Indro Devarat Sakrud Dvistrisruktam cha apratipadyamanah swabhava dosha kshaya अपेक्ष्य चतुर्थे पर्याये प्रथमोक्तम एव ब्रह्म प्रतिपन्नवान. So when he was told the fourth time, he came to understand it. Now continuing, लोकेपि एकस्मात् गुरोः शृण्वतां कश्चिद् यथावत् प्रतिपद्यते, कश्चिद् अयथावत्, कश्चिद् विपरीतं, कश्चिन्न प्रतिपद्यते. In a class, listening from one teacher, only that is understood. Students are there. Here there were two students. Teacher was one. Both are listening to the same thing. One has understood opposite, that the teacher is talking about the sharir, and here the Indra has understood something, and he say and he understand what's the what was supposed to be understood, and therefore now that which is to be understood is not understood. First option, that is the possibilities we are talking about. That which is supposed to be understood by the student, that is not understood. Second option is misunderstood. And the third option is it is not at all understood. Now apply to yourself. Here we are taking example of Virochan and Indra. Both are within us. Both are in our mind. What is the quality of the mind that we have? It says it is difficult, very difficult to understand. Or does it come up with that this is absolutely not possible in this lifetime for me? There are people who say that. Maybe we have been the ones who have said that. अगले जन्म में देखेंगे, इस जन्म में तो हो गया यार, अभी बहुत हो गया. इस जन्म में only we'll do our duties and we'll postpone the duty of knowing ourselves into the next life. Is that what is the scriptures teaching us? No. Did we come across the scriptures? Did we do bhakti? Did we remember the Lord? Did we purify ourselves to come to this conclusion that let's postpone it for the next life? Or is it to ascertain, to come to the conclusion while living in this life and not make any excuses? And this statement, what we said, that something is not understood, something is misunderstood, or something is not at all understood. It is about every statement. Let it be karma, let it be karma phala, let it be bhakti, let it be puja, let it be chanting, let it be adhyatma, let it be yoga. Let it be simple thing. Put something, hey, can you please put this container with the food in the fridge? And someone says, should I cover it or not? Now that is, it's common sense that you must cover it and put it into the fridge. You should not put anything without the cover. But this is lack of alertness, lack of awareness. So here, what is the topic going on in this Upanishad? Is it not understood till now what we have done? Have we misunderstood it? Or have we come to the conclusion, yeah, this is too much hair splitting, I think I will give it a miss. For me, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, that is better. We must continue with that also. Maybe if you come across this Upanishad again next time, somewhere, and you have been doing your japa sadhana, you have been doing your purificatory exercises, nam jap, your understanding of the same Upanishad will be much different, much deeper. So never come to this that, enough, that it is not possible. Never, never, never. Anyway, so these two were there. किमु वक्तव्यम इति इंद्रियम आत्मतत्वम. When this is the case of normal knowledge, so these three options that we gave to that something is understood, not understood, misunderstood, not at all understood, चार हो गए गलती से. This is for everything. You look at a person and someone is looking somewhere and you say, hey Swamiji, and he doesn't answer you and you misunderstand that Swamiji is ignoring you. That I think he purposely is not looking at me. I think purposely he not talking to me. Misunderstanding. There is no end to these things. Now, these three options are with regards to everything that you know and come across objectively. How much more difficult it will be to understand that which is beyond the intellect and mind and senses. अत्र हि विप्रतिपन्नाः सद असद वादिनः तार्किकाः सर्वे. There are some who say truth is and some say truth is not. That type of also people come to know. If I cannot come to know, it means I think there is no truth. There is only absence. Some people say that. But we already said vidita tatha avidita tadi. It is beyond the known and the unknown. This problem of there it is not there only comes because of objective pursuit. You are looking for it. You are not accepting you are it. Whenever there is a thought is always objective in nature. Whether that thought be of aham or whether that thought be of idam. Can you make Brahman into idam or can you make I into idam? You are the subject. So here for this example, I am the subject, you are the object. And I am speaking to you through the instrument of I am seeing you through the instrument of eyes. Seeing is happening. Knowing is taking place because the form is there, the mind is saying, yeah, I know this face, I know this face, I know this face. Now what is the form of Brahman? This form that I am seeing in front, it is limited by time-space objectivity. Brahman is independent of time-space objectivity. Desha Kala Vastu. It's beyond. The limitation of Desha Kala Vastu is not possible for Brahman. Therefore, it is what it is. Tasmad अविदितं ब्रह्मेति सुनिश्चितः उक्तमपि विषम प्रतिपत्तित्वाद् यदि मन्यसे इत्यादि साशंकं वचनं युक्तम् एव आचार्यस्य। दहरम् अल्पमेवापि नूनं त्वं वेत्थ जानीषे ब्रह्मणो रूपम्। Therefore, Brahman is known and said as I have understood, but there is every possibility that it is mistaken and understood. To correct that, the teacher has started this topic in the second chapter. You cannot but know it because it is your nature. Reality or Atma or Brahman, it is you. It is you. So that feeling will always, I can't even use that word feeling. It is you in through and through. Just like water is through and through the wave and ocean. There is no place for a wave without water. There is no existence possible for a wave without water. But wave is the form, that imaginary form, that temporary form, that finite form. That ornament is the same, but the gold is through and through. So who are you? Are you the form, or are you the one who is through and through this? Which one are you considering yourself to be? And therefore this feeling comes when we listen to the Upanishads. Yes, I know it. At times when we are listening, we are there, but after the satsang is over, then for some period of time it will continue like that, but then suddenly it drops away. Because the world enters, we have not burnt away the world yet, we have not become immune to the world yet, we have not transformed the world also as an expression of I yet, because our vision has not transformed yet. I am still holding on to something, that's why it has not happened. And therefore Brahman is known and said as I have understood, but there is every possibility that it is mistaken for ego, or it is misunderstood to be the infinite, formless, with attributes reality called the Ishvara. And that is objective knowledge. When you put Ishvara as a form, when you take this cosmos as a form, when you take a thought in your mind as a form, that is objective knowledge. Then the teacher says here that daharam alpam evapi nunam tvam vetha janishe brahmano rupam. Then you have come to know alpam eva, you have come to know very little of that Brahman, if this is your approach. You have come to know very little. Kim anekani brahmano rupani महान्त्यर् भकानि च येनाह दहरम एवेत्यादि. Do you mean, this question, do you mean there are different forms of Brahman? Are there big and small Brahman? Now you are telling me little of the Brahman. Little Brahman you have come to know, Alpameva. Does Brahman have parts that I have understood only part of it, not total, not in all of it? Little means only tiny. That means, are there many parts? Are there many ways to know it? Are there many aspects of it to be known? See how the mind goes. So the student is saying, do you mean there are different forms of Brahman? Are there big and small Brahman? because of which there is very little understanding, that I understood very little. So student is also pakka. He has come to know something. he is also inquiring. So when the teacher says you have come to know little, he wants to be very clear. Are there parts? Are there attributes? Are there many Brahman? Because Badham, true. अनेकानि ही नाम रूप उपाधि कृतानि ब्रह्मणः रूपाणि न स्वतः तु अशब्दम अस्पर्शम अरूपम अव्ययम तथा रसम नित्यम अगंधवच्च यत् कठोपनिषद नृसिंहोत्तर मुक्तिकः इति शब्दादिभिः सह रूपाणि प्रतिषिध्यन्ते. The teacher says, when you talk of big and small Brahman, yes, according to the forms revealed, there are many forms, but itself it doesn't have any form, as it is ashabda, arupa, all these adjectives which are given, ashabda, beyond word, asparsha, beyond, cannot be spoken of, cannot be touched, arupa, has no form, avyaya, without without any parts, tatha rasam, and beyond the taste, meaning beyond the senses, and it is nityam, and it is eternal, and it is without any it is that where the what do you call gandha, smell cannot reach, or it doesn't have any smell, meaning all these qualities that are there, they are absent in it, in the Brahman, because it is transcendental. So in this manner, when the student asks the teacher that are there big and small Brahman, the teacher is saying, yes, if you say it that way, yes, there is big and small. Because he asked the question. According to the forms revealed. But that is with reference to the conditionings. So, is water big and small? Yes. With reference to totality, it is ocean. With reference to individuality, it is a wave. With reference to destructive power, it is tsunami. With reference to the full moon and the no moon, it is the tides. It is water only. So is Brahman the Ishvara? Yes. Is Brahman the individual? Yes. Is Brahman the whole cosmos? Yes. Is Brahman pervading the waking dream, deep sleep? Yes. Past, present, future? Yes. Because Brahman is everything. And that you are. Don't forget that part. Don't look at it objectively. Now the student is he is thinking again. Question: ननु येन एव धर्मेण यद् रूप्यते तदेव तस्य स्वरूपम् इति ब्रह्मणः अपि येन विशेषेण निरूपणं तदेव तस्य स्वरूपं स्यात्. Now student says that which is indicated येन एव धर्मेण यद् रूप्यते तदेव, that which is indicated by its quality, tasya swarupamiti brahmanopi yena visheshena nirupanam. By its quality, that is its nature. So that which is indicated by its quality, that which is its nature, same way whatever way Brahman is indicated, that should be its nature. Whatever way Brahman is indicated, that should be its nature. See the student's question. Therefore, he concludes what? The student. Ataha uchyate अतः where are we? अतः उच्यते चैतन्यं पृथिव्यादीनाम् अन्यतम अस्य सर्वेषां विपरिणतानां वा धर्मो न भवति तथा श्रोत्रादीनामन्तः करणस्य च धर्मो न भवतीति ब्रह्मणो रूपम् इति ब्रह्म रूप्यते चैतन्येन तथा च उक्तम विज्ञानम आनंदम ब्रह्म बृहदारण्यके उपनिषद विज्ञान घन एव बृहदारण्यके उपनिषद सत्यम ज्ञानम अनंतम ब्रह्म तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद प्रज्ञानम ब्रह्म ऐत्तिरेय उपनिषद इति च ब्रह्मणो रूपम निर्दिष्टम श्रुतिषु. So here it says, therefore Chaitanya is said to be other than Chaitanyam Prithivya Anya. It is other than the Prithvi. So Chaitanya is said to be other than Prithvi. So it is other than the inert world. Prithvi is inert, it is solid. But when it is said it's eye of an eye, ear of an ear, तमस्य सर्वेषां विपरिणतानां तानां वा धर्मो न भवति. So, but when it is said that it is eye of an eye, ear of an ear, therefore Brahman is itself not having Brahman itself is not having eye, ears, mouth, mind, intellect, etc. But it is it is not, Brahman as such is not having any of these faculties. Is from Brahman water point of view, is there any ocean and wave? No. From gold point of view, is there any ornaments? No. From mud point of view, is there any what do you call, pots and pans possible? No. Mud is mud. Before also it was mud. When the pot was made, it is still mud. After the pot breaks, it is still mud. Before the ornament it was gold, during the ornament it is gold, after the ornament is melted it is still gold. Before the wave or ocean it was water, during ocean and water wave is still water, and after there is a deluge it is still water. So don't come to, initially yes, in Bhagavad Gita, Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga Nama. In the 13th chapter we saw that Kshetrajna is other than Kshetra. The knower of the field is other than the field. So that Chaitanya Vastu is other than the Prithvi, meaning other than it, the Chaitanya is other than Jada. That thinking, that analysis will not work here. Then what is the analysis? Not other. No, all conditionings, all faculties per se cannot stick to Brahman, cannot be found in Brahman. From Brahman's point of view, it alone is. Excuse me. And the scriptures तथा श्रोत्रादि नामन्तःकरणस्य च धर्मो न भवति इति ब्राह्मणो रूपम इति ब्रह्म रूप्यते चैतन्येन तथा च उक्तम. And the scriptures also indicate the Brahman very well, but you say it can't be known. The student is telling the teacher, but you say that it cannot be known. This is all the problem of objectifying the reality, meaning objectifying the self. The statement is made, Shrotrasya Shrotram, Pranasya Pranaha, mind of the mind. Acha, mind of the mind. Let me go deep inside. You know, they say, if I look into myself, where should I look? Should I look at the heart? Should I look at the throat? Should I look at Brahmarandra? You know, when you put a line through here and put a line through the fontanel where they meet, that is the Brahmarandra. I think that is where the location of Atma is. Some people say it is 10 fingers above the head. I think that is where I will locate it. Means your attention is on the body, it is not on the Atma, not on being the Atma. You want to discover it somewhere, 10 fingers above the head, in some location somewhere inside. It is free of all limitations, Baba. And this is where the student is. When the teacher is saying that it cannot be known through your normal means of knowledge, it is beyond the known and the unknown, he is in a fix now. The only faculty he has is his mind and intellect. And the teacher is saying that it cannot be known and yet it is known. So the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. So different examples were given here that the Brahman is knowledge and Ananda Swarup, that it is of it is homogeneous mass of Brahman is homogeneous mass of knowledge, Vijnana Gana, homogeneous knowledge. Then Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, that this Brahman is what you call, it is existence, knowledge and Ananta. Satyam, Jnana and Ananta. Infinite in nature. Prajnanam Brahma, that consciousness is Brahman. So all these scriptures are telling wrong or what? You are telling me no? Have I? They are saying it. I am also saying I know Brahman. Satyam evam. The teacher says true. No doubt. What? No doubt? तथापि तदन्तः करण देहेन्द्रिय उपाधि द्वारेण एव विज्ञानादि शब्दैर्निर्दिश्यते तदनुकारित्वात् देहादि वृद्धि संकोच छेदादिषु नाशेषु च न स्वतः. He says, you are right, my friend, my student. No doubt, whatever you have said is correct. Scriptures do say that Brahman is indicated by the upadhis. It is indicated by the upadhis and it is associated with them. It is indicated by the upadhis, it is associated with them, but when they are destroyed, Brahman is not destroyed. Apply it on yourself. Blinking comes and goes. Do you come and go? Someone was saying blinking. Thoughts come and go. Do you come and go? Waking dream sleep comes and goes. Do you come and go? Memory comes and goes. Do you come and go? Good thoughts, bad thoughts come and go. Do you come and go? All the roles that you are playing come and go. Do you come and go? Childhood, teenage, youth, middle age, wherever you are now. They have all come and gone. Have you come and gone? Or are you the continuous one? Are you the constant one? Are you the one who is shunting? Or are you the constant one? So the teacher is saying Satyameva. स्वतस्तु अविज्ञातं विजानतां विज्ञातम् अविजानतां केन उपनिषद इति स्थिति भविष्यति. यदस्य so यद अविजानतां अविज्ञातम अविज्ञातम विजानताम विज्ञातम अविजानताम, meaning those who say they know it, for them it is unavailable, and those who don't know it, those who don't say they don't know it, or those who do not come to make this statement that we know it, for them it is available. See? Meaning, where is knowingness taking place? See, wherever there is knowingness, if you remember our last lecture in our Amrutanubhav, what is knowingness? Knowingness is where individuality expresses. Knowingness is where the Triputi appears. For that, what is required? The minimum basic ingredients are Jnata, Jneya, subject, object. The knower and the known has to be there, then knowingness will take place. where these three things are happening, knower, known, knowing, seer, seen, seeing, experiencer, experienced, experiencing, their knowingness is going on. And that's where individuality is. And here he says that for knower of Brahman, it remains the one who for the knower of Brahman, the one who says I know Brahman, for him he remains unknown. So you cannot go around beating the drum. I have come to know, I have come to know. Whom are you telling? Whom are you making the statement for? Are you still there to make that statement? If you are there, means you have not dissolved. Ego has not dissolved. So, for knower of Brahman, it remains unknown, and for the unknown, it remains unknown anyway. For those who don't know it, it is unknown to them. The problem with the seekers or this student is that he has come to know Brahman through the upadhis, through the faculties, through the body. He has not come to know the Brahman as Brahman. He is still through the faculties, he is trying to work it out, or thinks he has worked it out. We'll look at it. What is the time? Ho gaya time. So we have to page 61, second paragraph we have to do. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.